Hi and welcome everyone. This is Lavender Sky Panther with you on Friday, October 4th, 2024. And today is going to be a reading. There's going to be a selected group toward the latter half of this video. But the beginning, this time around, too much damage and destruction have gone on in places like North Carolina and Tennessee, also in Florida, Georgia as well, that I just want to kind of do this reading, slash kind of more of like a blessing in honor of all of those who might have been adversely affected. We'll just say by the weather and quotes. I may get that and touch on that later on in the video. I just want to say it's not due to purely natural causes. Make no mistake on that. But for right now, I want to concentrate of the love of the goodness and the goodness of humanity, the ability for humanity to come together and good loving heart to help each other through some really tough times. And I'm just talking about the aftermath of the recent hurricane and all the flooding and just washing away entire villages and towns, and cities and even highways, sections of highways and whatnot. So I definitely say there's foul play there. Controlled weather warfare comes to mind, but that's another topic. For right now, I want to focus on the good and the loving aspects of human beings and humanity, which we all are by nature. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. I've been through the aftermath of some, bad damages and disasters to know for sure, without a shadow of a doubt, everyone comes together to help each other out. So anyway, this is just a little blessing and prayer for all of those adversely affected, for all of those who maybe have transitioned as a result. And I also want to include a storm that I think got vastly overlooked and wrongly so. And I mean, I don't like to judge and put a label on it, but it really was a tragedy that got no, attention on the mainstream news. And that would have been Hurricane Dorian back in 2019, where entire, towns too were washed away. I think the number of deaths is in the thousands, if not tens of thousands. But, even current reporting says not many happened. That's absolutely not true. But anyway, I didn't want to get into all of that right now. But this is for all of those who may have gotten overlooked and anybody suffering right now, for those reasons and actually far beyond. This can also be open to more a general prayer too for everyone, whatever kind of suffering you're going through. But in this particular focus, since I'm involved doing this, I do want to make it more for me, for the love of ... I want to fill in the ... for the people in the areas of North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, Florida, and whoever got adversely affected. Okay. All right, that being said, I would like to strike. I'm just going to tap on this little singing bowl one time to set the tone, sound the tone literally for this blessing, and to kind of just focus beautiful energies to come in and, create a little surround of sound protection from anything adverse that might, want to disrupt that. So this is just going to be for happy flow and a harmonious reading / blessing, whatever this becomes. And again, I'm just kind of, off-roading this thing. I just had another setup actually in mind to do that was cheerful again along the lines of the previous one. But something said no, a blessing and a honoring of the souls and individuals that may no longer be with us, especially as a result of these storms or those that are having extreme hardship. If I can't drive up there with a chainsaw and help cutting down branches and trees and providing whatever they might need, I can at least do this intention and this little prayer / blessing and reading in their honor, and to try to uplift things and bring good things to all of those communities who are affected. And if you're there saying, gosh, I wish I could do something and I don't want to do my own YouTube channel or do anything like this, you can participate in this with me if you like, and just do, that's kind of the extent of my opening here. I'm going to just tap the bowl once, and I invite you just to kind of, if you wish, if you can, if you're not driving or in a safe place to do it, just close your eyes and hear the tone, and just in your heart, let all the love of the world well up in your heart, and hopefully you can get to a place where no matter where people are located, no matter what the quote-unquote politics or divisive organized religions are doing, put that all aside. Just concentrate on your heart space. I invite you to even put your hands or your hand on your heart space and just really feel into just loving all the earth and all of humanity in it, all the human beings and nature and anything with life in it. Let's just pray for it all, right? Okay, so if you don't want to hear the tone, that I'm just going to do one little tone. I'm not even going to work the singing bowl like you can work it to heal. I'm just going to tap it once for the sound to ring out and bless this overall situation and all of us here, right here and right now. So if you don't want to hear the tone, I'll put timestamps in at the bottom so you can skip over it, but it won't last long. It's just one little tap. So here we go. Invite you again to close your eyes, maybe put your hand on your heart and just really feel into it, the love for all of life if you can, if you want to. Okay, the loving tone is set, and let's get into this. So what I want to do is start off with, I have some of these playing cards, but the theme is the Blue Ridge Parkway, which runs through, a portion of what was really badly affected in North Carolina. And on the back side, there's some nice, here, I'm going to show you a little bit preview here. On the back side, there's some images and descriptions of the local, kind of flora and fauna, if you will, of the area of that specific region. So I'm going to start off with just pulling some of those randomly and just reading the back straight up. So if you're not familiar with some of the plant life and other things going on in that area, we will both be introduced to that because I really haven't read any of these things on the back sides. And then we'll get into select a card, select a group, pick a card reading, and just so you know, there are 3 groups that you can choose from, but I kind of took a little quick preview when they popped out and jumped out. I did the jump out method on the cards as I shuffled, and it is going to all all relate because my intention was that we hear what we need to hear, what's best and highest for us all, but also keeping in mind for the love of. And then, what I just mentioned, the groups that I already just mentioned, like for the love of North Carolina, all the good people in it, all the people in there, and for all over the earth, whoever might be adversely affected by storms of many kinds. Okay, so that is kind of, though, the overall theme, even though you might pick one. The overall theme is we love so-and-so. We love North Carolina. We love, wherever you are in the world that needs the love ramped up big time. Okay, so really it's kind of like for the love of humanity and human beings and all of life. So, but that, with or without that, you can, also apply this more personally, probably to what's going on in your life. But here's group 1 on the left, group 2 in the middle, and group 3 on the right. Now, this reading might go on for a bit because I do have a lot of readings from the companion books. I do want to read straight up, especially from this one, the Mystical Shaman deck, relative to, the tone set for this overall reading that we love, ... for the love of ... whatever you want to fill in the blank that with. Fill in the blank with for that, okay? So let me just start off really quickly and get to this deck. This is what the backs of it look like. Blue Ridge Parkway. And what I'm going to do is a little bit further down. I'm going to leave these 3 cards set up. And actually, just so you know, I have hearts. I just put a heart under each one too, because the intention is ramping up the love for all the earth right now. I think we all could use it for various reasons. And this also too can be turned into a prayer or a blessing if you like as you go along, keeping the intention of your loved ones if they were adversely affected by any number of sicknesses or sicknesses resultant from all of the recent forced or coerced injections, negative ones on the planet right now. So let's just do this. I think I'll do it this way. I wasn't going to. I was going to do a jump out, but I got to hold the camera with one hand as I go through here. So I'm just going to pull a few, and let's just see. I'm randomly picking some, and then we will go from there. Let me just do, I'm just going to go until I feel like stopping here. And yeah, okay. Let's just see what we've got. So these numbers may mean something to you. They may not. I will include in the description box below the Australian blog site I always love to refer to recommend if you want to know the positive aspects of numbers and numerology. Just go to that site, plug in any number you wish, any number of digits, and it will give you some beautiful meanings for the numbers. So here we've got 5, an ace. Let's see, I'll just read it out in case any of this clicks with you as needing to, trigger you into something, to remember something, or it's meaningful to you. We have a 5 of spades, an ace of diamonds, a queen of clubs, a 4 of spades, a 6 of diamonds, and a queen of hearts. So I like it that we've got a few royal things. So we've got 2 queens and an ace, and that's, pretty favorable. And actually we have a 4, 5, 6. So I think we're going to have a nice flow here on this reading today. All right, I don't want to get into this card's meaning so much as the ones coming up, so I'm going to hop right to it. Oh, and let me go first to the backdrop. I have these pebbles here. They actually come from New Zealand, but I have them to represent the riverbeds and creeks of North Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, whatever I mentioned, even Florida. I don't think they have the pebbles so much in Florida, but that's irrelevant. It's just the idea of the earth energies in the water of the creeks. Bringing back out my black tourmaline is one of my favorites to anchor this and bless the reading, and it absorbs any negative energies that are going on, and we'll use that to loosely represent any negative energies going on in the world. We're going to just, again, send out love and wash everything in love right now. And so that represents that. And for grounding right now for the reading, I have this wood depiction of like a certain type of tree. So again, there's just gorgeous forests all over the land. So we're bringing in that energy. I've got some seeds in prayer bead form, and I'm burning some myrrh and lavender and frankincense. And the stick in the background, the incense stick, is burning lavender rosemary again. Okay, and that's a little view of the singing bowl over there off to the side. And then I do have some sassafras root once again. This is a slightly different root than I normally show, although I have the other one too that I use as a little wand and pointer off to the side. And I just want to note that, yes, sassafras trees, they grow all over North Carolina, except not in the higher mountain regions, apparently. Okay. And actually, again, if you didn't catch one of my earlier shows, this root, you can just boil it in water and you get sassafras tea, which tastes like root beer, if you know what that is. Okay. I mean, some countries don't have it, so that's why I'm saying that. Okay, let's get into this then. So let me pick this back up with this card, and bear with me. I'm going to see if I can read it without focus going in and out. And this says, pink lady slippers are one of many different wildflower species that bloom along the Blue Ridge Parkway. Okay, so we have a plant called pink lady slippers. And I'm not going to get into any spiritual meanings of these things. I'm just going to read them straight up. But I invite you to look further around, do searches further if you want to know more detail about these plants. Also, I recommend looking up the healing properties of ... So look up healing properties of any plant or tree, and you'll be amazed at what they can do. And that it applies to probably every single plant on this planet. Okay? All right, so we've got the pink lady slippers. And I'm going to do the same because I don't know anything about pink lady slippers. And then we've got more than 100 bird species, including red-tailed hawks, may be seen along the parkway during the spring migration season. So there's a glorious red-tailed hawk. And again, I invite you to look up further, more information about them. Maybe you want to look up flying speeds, you know, what they eat and other things. Okay, then we have this beautiful scene here of the waterfall, little creek bed. And it says, with convenient roadside access and stunning natural beauty, 65-foot looking Glass Falls is one of the most popular waterfalls in the eastern United States. It's beautiful. Setting. Okay. And then we have this one. An exhibit at the Puckett Cabin provides information on the history of Orlena Puckett, who delivered more than 1,000 babies during her career as a midwife from 1890 to 1939. Okay, well, this is unexpected news on this card. Maybe this is a little special message for somebody who might be about to have a baby or help deliver one. But that's a lot of babies. So let's just say a shout out to all of those mothers who are about to have babies, who have had babies, or those who are about to help bring them into the world. Such an honor. All right, now let's look here. We have a beautiful setting. With an elevation reaching 6,000 feet, Cold Mountain received its name because the summit was often thought to be much colder than surrounding altitudes. And this is just a reminder too that October, I think when you get to around the 15th and after, is prime season for when they just say the mountains are like on fire with the colors of all of the turning leaves. And there's actually a color index they put out usually every year to show where the most colorful leaves will be seen, depending on the weather conditions and, you know, I guess drought or non-drought conditions of the area. So you get bright reds, oranges, golden colors, you know, a little bit of greens, and the mountains really come alive when you see that. All right, and then we have this one, sometimes referred to as whistle pigs, groundhogs are commonly seen in grassy areas surrounding the parkway. See, I did not know that. Whistle pigs. And there we go. All right, so those are just a few facts about the Blue Ridge Parkway, or what you can see in and near there. The very famous roadway in North Carolina. Okay, so now go ahead. Oops, sorry about my finger in the way. Go ahead and pick your group or pile. And as I always say, you can pick 1, 2, or all 3. In this case, they will all interrelate those. So I'm not really sure we want to pick a group, but just do it if you feel like it. Otherwise, I am going to pull these with the intent of making it really an overall collective reading. Again, because the intent was, we, for the love of, or we love, and then whatever areas have been impacted by the storm. But let's get into this. So we'll start with group 1. Hello, group 1. Let me just lay these all out together because 3 came out for this group. Okay. So again, the focus was kind of honoring humanity, especially those affected by the storm. So with that in mind, we've got, actually, is there a number on this one? Yes. And let me move these so I can see the numbers. Okay, we've got, bear with me one second. Okay. So we have pure spirit, purification. Sorry, I had a moment. Yeah, no, it's pure. I was thrown off for a minute. It looked like pine spirit, like a pine tree. No, but it is pure spirit, purification. And I'm just going to pan over each. And that's number 30 or 3. Then we have storm spirit, chaos. And actually I covered this in a previous show that I pulled it intentionally to talk about it with approaching storm. That's number 42 or number 6. And then we have maple spirit, generosity, the beautiful maple tree on fire like I was just talking about. And got a couple of stones in the background, number 23 or number 5. And I also just want to bring your attention, it's kind of timely that the maple spirit generosity card popped out, because as you see in my backdrop cloth, it's all about the trees, that have turned different colors. So we've got all the nice little colors in there, and we've got that nice fiery red. Okay. So for this, I'm just going to overall kind of read them all together, and I might read from the book as well. But we have, purification, chaos, and generosity. So absolutely, we can very easily see that, let me get my little sassafras root pointer, that a chaos has been created to create, in that case, it is the storm and all of the flooding and the failed dams and all kinds of other things that created really adverse conditions to wash away just, whole towns and things. So again, I will say that in this case, it absolutely involves weather control, weather warfare, engineered storm, because there was nothing natural about the way the storm approached the area, how heavy things, water, how much water hit the area unexpectedly. And if you've dealt with hurricanes at all, like I've grown up my whole life living with them and threats of them in Florida, what do they always say? As soon as after the storm, the hurricane especially leaves the area of the water, the storms dissipate right away. They don't amplify and pick up and ramp up and speed and do all kinds of craziness like this one did. So that's proof alone. I don't need to see any other information to know that this storm absolutely was tampered with and modified to be very destructive. Even coming up, approaching the land of Florida where it, hit the ground zero of it, so to speak, it was projected to be a 3, and then suddenly just amped up to a 4. It's even kind of suspect if it even was cranked up even higher, because some of the damage seen doesn't occur even with a category 4. That happens with a 5 or higher. So, very suspect all around. I don't want to focus on that aspect of it, though. I want to come back to the more, humanity part of this. So, whatever chaos is quote unquote unleashed or intentionally done, especially, we say no, we reject you. Whatever forces are trying to do this, we're going to focus back on the purity of the heart, and humanity to create magic even through the most adverse of times, to come together through their generosity of love, spirit, and resources to help each other, because it was in some movie, we're many leaves but one tree, and we are that family tree. At the heart of everything, we are family coming from the same God spark. And no matter what happens, whatever we see with our physical eyes, that is not the truth of what we all are, is this spark of life in the heart space. So we will not be, discouraged. We will not be thwarted from our basic nature, which is to help each other. Okay. So that's all I'm getting for that. But let me just see if there's anything in the book. Oh, so let me move it out more generally. So if you're not in any of these areas that I'm talking about or have loved ones there, if this is just your own personal storm, if there's chaos in your life, it still applies. There are people around us at all times. So even if you feel quite alone, look, she's got a little sprig of like, I don't know if that's evergreen or what she has in her hand. But look, she's got nature here grounding her on the 3D plane, and she's got reaching up in prayer, to that which we cannot see, but we absolutely know is there and eternal. And so she's got the best of both worlds. She, even if there's nobody physically around, say you don't have any family or friends around, or you do, but they're estranged to you at the moment, or you just kind of feel like a fish out of water. Even if there are people all around you in a room, you just feel very alone on your spiritual path, perhaps. Just know that we always have the anchoring down of nature for us, and the anchoring of that which we cannot see. I mean, there are teams of beautiful spirit guides and maybe loved ones who have transitioned, your guardian angels, all kinds of things, plus God, Jesus, whomever, your higher self to draw off as a resource to help us as well when we feel like we really need it. In this case, jumping back to the actual storms going on in the world, some are done as chaos, some are done as purification. Hold on one second. I had to just blow out this, sorry about that. I had to blow out this candle because it's getting a little out of control. We don't need a chaos in this house right now. So, but anyway, what was I saying? So some storms are done in purification. Some places, maybe on this planet, I think I wasn't going to go there, but I think I will because it's important. Some places on this planet, as we know now, oh, sorry, just making sure my video is still going. Some places on this planet, as we know now, is even coming out as revelations being revealed even in mainstream controlled news and broadcasting. It has come to light all of the degeneration and horrible things going on in the entertainment industry, which that's just one place. It's also going to be coming out in the political realm and everywhere else, in the highest ranks of quote-unquote power over the earth right now. But all of this, sometimes the storms are coming in to purify an area. So even though to the physical eyes this looks horrible, and to a lot of people that were negatively impacted in this area, and absolutely good people have nothing to do with the kind of the evil undercurrent moving along, it also could be coming along to purify an area. If we're talking about potential, I don't know if it's true for this specific area, but I kind of think it might be. There might be a whole system of underground, let's just say trafficking, if you know what I mean, of human beings of all ages. And this could have been done. I'm not saying it was, but it's potentially done to help purify an area so that it can be turned about, get rid of all of that evil energy. However, at the same time, we know there's strategy with these storms, and it's becoming very public knowledge that millions, I think over $90 million were exchanged among, hands, I believe, between the government and a private corporation to institute a mine for lithium. I mean, that's in the mainstream reporting. So, a lot of the locals are saying, no, we don't want a mine for this stuff in our beautiful town and all that comes with it, all that negative industry stuff that pollutes waters and airs and all of that. And they don't want to support that. So lo and behold, now this huge flooding episode, coincidentally in quotes, wink, wink, happens upon this entire region where that's involved. It's very suspect, just like the very likely, I mean, I'm not a betting person, but I would bet money on it, that we had direct energy weapons involved with Maui and similar things. The locals said no, to big government corporations. We want to keep our own business here. And then, coincidentally, we had very pointed and strategic fire happening. And again, of the direct energy weapon sort. We have laser technology, just turning living things into ash, like, a cat. I saw one report, if that was true, just the outer shell was turned to ash, the thing was incinerated, and yet it still kind of stood there. And it reminds me of Pompeii, and we can start to get into what was our real history, what really did happen there even. But anyway, all that to say, it's an invitation with these storms and chaos to open up your mind and start to question things. And if things don't sit right in the heart space and in the soul, like, hey, something just doesn't seem to add up, like how would a hurricane pick up and amp up that much when it's over land and not even over water? So, why would it drop so much rain when it wasn't over water still? Things like that. When things don't start to add up, then start to look deeper, maybe, if you want to. So for me, I already started kind of like drawing some parallels. I could be totally wrong here, but I'm gonna share my theory just in case you want to hear it. If not, you can skip ahead. But my theory on that is we know are starting to see the absolute corruption and evil happening in the upper circles of quote unquote Hollywood, right? And you've got people like, I'm going to spell it, just normally I don't believe in these stupid word and code games, but I'm just going to do it in case I don't want the algorithm to really flag this video as it is. I'm so shadow banned, it's not even funny. But I'm going to keep speaking as I wish. But I will just spell this one. So the certain character, I'll just say, O-P-R-A-H, in the industry, is notoriously linked with people like Epstein and others. And so, when you're running around in the circles, you're kind of like as good as the friends you keep kind of thing. You're probably like-minded, let's just say. So anyway, apparently she has property in Maui and also in Asheville. At least I know she did a decade ago. So I'm pretty sure she still does. So that's just a parallel my mind is drawn to. We have a total catastrophic disaster over there and now over in Asheville. Wonder what could be going on. I have a feeling purification is involved. And it's funny, I went to her as my first reference because she is African-American woman, and we have one depicted here. And I think this is just kind of like, we're shining a light and a revelation on what's really going on in some of these areas and what some of these, I'll just say, characters are really doing. And what I'm just saying is she's heavily implicated in, some very kind of evil deeds, we'll just say. So more is going to be revealed. We're in a time of revelations, and it's going to be interesting to see what else is going to come up. Not interesting. Actually probably also pretty sad when we start to learn more and more of the truth coming to light through all of these things. So again, I'm just mentioning some of the storms can be absolutely strategic to wipe out things for things like gaining access to mines and more land taken away from the people, but it also in a nefarious style, but it also could be done in a purification, and unfortunately lives might need to be lost in order for a bigger, picture, kind of purifying of an area. And again, that's all speculation. What do you think? I encourage everybody to not only be open-minded, but to absolutely look into things for yourself. But most of all, what do you feel? Do the feel test in your heart space. Does everything feel like on the up and up? Or do we kind of smell a rat, so to speak, or something not seem to kind of add up with some of these storms? That's all I'm saying. Okay, well, that's it for now. And again, if there are any storms, kind of other types of storms, figuratively speaking, going on in your life, this prayer and blessing kind of session is for you as well. May you be uplifted and know that you have the strength to get through it. One beautiful thing about humanity is not only the generosity of spirit and whatever they can do and give in adverse times, but it's also our amazing ability to rebound and adapt and use our creativity and ingenuity to get through things, and our inner spirit, which can never be extinguished. This light, God-sent, God-given power can never be extinguished. All right. And so that's it. That's the in the name of all of that, in the name of love for that. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go to group number 2. Hi, group 2. Let's see what you have. You have a few cards. Let me just give me a second to lay them out. I'll come up here so you can look at that while I'm flipping them over, because it's not so exciting when I flip the cards over. Hold on one second. Okay. Now your particular cluster, and I was telling group 1, keep in mind that the intention of my shuffling and drawing the cards was we love North Carolina, for an example, and all of those adversely affected with storms and other things going on in life. So again, you fill in that blank of we love from the heart space, ... whatever you wish. But here we go. So we've got 3 cards, and just all together we have bird, oak tree, and harvest. And the little subtext is freedom, opportunity with the bird. Actually, I'll go over each card slowly. As you can see, got a vulture, looks like kind of like a turkey vulture maybe, and a bird. Birds of all different types, even a kiwi bird at the bottom. Freedom, opportunity. So no matter where you are in the world, this is also for you, of course. All of us beautiful human beings and the glorious spirit of humanity, loving humanity. And here we have like a tree of life tree, because there's even kind of a Celtic depiction on the trunk, and acorn and oak tree, power, courage, strength. And what's interesting is I just was led to post a thing including the oak tree on my most recent YouTube shorts, which actually had the bird, had the white American ibis, and or the American white ibis, however you want to say it. I think it's the white American ibis, whatever. It had that, and it had the young, the juvenile ibis, so that its feathers were all like this mottled brown color even. So, and then it had the oak. So it was just saying you are strong, stay the course, and take care of the basics. And I want to add, and you can get through everything because you have that strength. Okay, so freedom, opportunity, power, courage, strength. And then we have, this one came out as well. Beautiful picture here. Harvest. Determination, hard work. And there's a scythe in the background that you come in to harvest all your goods. So determination, hard work. So relative to the storm, I'll just start with that. The actual storms, the physical ones, do hop over to my, actually I'm going to invite you to hop over and check out group 1, because I talked about the weather warfare aspect of it, and I don't want to repeat myself. So take a look there. I'm just talking about how I know it absolutely was engineered weather, weather control employed on the most recent storm hitting Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina. So go check that out. And also my thoughts on Hurricane Dorian that hit the Bahamas. Oh, what I want to mention on that one is Hurricane Dorian happened in 2019, and pardon I'm jumping around a bit, but it's important. I do talk about that. I touch on that in group 1, so please visit there too. What I just wanted to put a footnote onto that discussion, or my own conversation with number 1, group 1, is that also with that storm, what was unnatural about it was that it was a category, went up to 5+, I think, and it held stationary, for about 18 hours, almost 24 hours. They even showed that on the news, and that's impossible for a storm of that much power. Impossible, okay? So it's only possible through weather control. It's not a naturally possible thing. And again, I've watched storms closely and tracked them very closely, especially from Andrew on, certainly my whole life. But with that one, there was nothing natural about it, nothing. And that wiped out entire, islands. That was vastly underreported how many people died. I talked to locals here, and just even in places like restaurants working there, and they said, I can't even reach 6, 7 of my kin. They're not found. They're lost. We don't know where they are. And there was plenty of video images, again, that happened in 2019, of people just being literally swept out over the land and out into the sea. So anyway, so this reading / honoring is for them too. Okay. But anyway, why did I go back there? Okay, I'll think of it. Oh, I just wanted to touch on it as a footnote because I didn't mention it in group 1. With that storm, Hurricane Dorian, it's important to start connecting the dots. And when something, I was talking in group 1, when something doesn't feel right, doesn't sit right with you, it's kind of like I smell a rat, I smell a fish, something's fishy. It usually is. So, lean into not what you see with your physical eyes in the quote unquote news, because they're not telling you the truth. This is the time of revelations where more and more is getting revealed, just like the whole entertainment, disgusting things that are going on. Those are now finally coming to light. So with this Dorian thing, you got to start questioning how could a huge power of nature, supposedly huge force like that, just stand still for almost 24 hours. It's impossible, I'm just telling you, without weather warfare and manipulation control. But where it was important. So these storms are being sent over specific areas for strategy reasons. I said I wasn't going to repeat. I guess I'm going to have to. So in group 1, we were talking about North Carolina and how, there could be strategic reasons why it hit there. Some slightly positive, maybe, if it's to purify the area, if really bad things are going on literally underground there. That's just my speculation. Or also strategically in a negative way, like there was, huge contracts being signed for millions, I think over $90 million to start a lithium mine there, and the locals are saying, hell no, heck no, we don't want that here. And so, coincidentally, in quotes, we have a huge storm wiping out things where it's going to require some assistance to rebuild, and you better believe they're going to try to institute such a mine there. So anyway, we got to really, look at these things not just with the physical eyes, but feel into it with the heart space. And is something, seem a little fishy here? So back to my cross reference with Hurricane Dorian, that storm just hanging over there. I looked, I'm like, yeah, that doesn't seem right. And sure enough, through a whole various other things intuitively that led me there, and kind of connecting the dots of what mainstream was saying on the news versus what I know to be true for the area, it turns out that there is a underwater, I'll say secret in quotes, because these days with Google Earth you can find a lot if they haven't masked it out. But if you just do an internet search right now, you'll find it. They're not hiding it. It's called, I'll spell the acronym as AUTEC, and it's Atlantic Underwater something something. And that's like a quote unquote underwater base. And so they do certain kinds of quote unquote testings, and they say they're not live exercises, but I'm pretty sure they are doing live exercises. But you might want to take a look there, and that's an example of one location as a part of that Hurricane Dorian that was completely, that island was like completely devastated. So you got to wonder. I have other proof, of my own digging to tell me conclusively that, yeah, that was a strategic weather warfare exercise. But anyway, via the hurricane. Anyway, all that to say, let's get off of that subject. Let's go back to this. So as far as I want to focus on the loving humanity part of all of this and not the nefarious, shifty stuff going on by evil powers that are trying to ever more, harm us beautiful human beings. So in this case, we have bird, freedom, opportunity, oak tree, power, courage, strength, and harvest, determination, hard work. So relative to the storms, and I'm going to pull out my nice sassafras pointer, and as I said in group 1, sassafras trees grow all over North Carolina, just apparently not in the higher altitudes in the mountains. And you can just boil this in some water and create a sassafras tea, which is birch beer, or a form of root beer, for people who aren't familiar with root beer in your country, if you're watching this. Okay, so I'm going to use this as a little pointer. So relative to this actual physical storm that happened, regardless how much of it was natural, how much was not, we do have a lot of freedom and opportunities of loving human beings to come together. And through the storms, our power, courage, and strength is absolutely highlight. How much perseverance, endurance, and strength, that we need to muster up seemingly out of nowhere to get through some of these very adverse times. It does take determination and hard work to see things, flourish again in abundance and to have that harvest. At first it's going to be desolate, but what do we know? Trees are so hardy, and not just the oak, and will ever grow and rise again. And, with the example of Hurricane Andrew in my area, in Miami, all the trees, canopies were just completely blown away. And yet now, years later, you look around the same areas that were hardest hit, and you've got, beautiful big trees that have come back to life. So like the oak, we are also embodied that, what do I say? Unextinguishable spirit to come back and grow and build again. And we will see a new harvest, we'll plant new seeds, and we will continue. So for the area impacted, this day will come again. It's going to take some determination, hard work, and coming together as community, but we will. The nice thing is that we are all individually testing out our wings to see how well we can fly through these situations and how much we can help others. And what I like is it's the reminder of the true freedom of this, where I'm living right now in the United States of America. The true freedom is forget all of your systems, forget governments and organized religions and whatever. Who cares? I'm talking about we come together as a being, as a God-given, with all our God-given abilities and creation that we have within us. We are a beautiful creation. And that's all that matters, is us individual on a God spark level and what we can do. And some of us need to be tested to know exactly how far and how high we can fly. And this is one of those tests. Can we come together? How well we can come together. We can come together. How well we can come together and help each other out. And we're starting to see that happen in places like North Carolina. So it's very clear that it's the people ourselves coming together to help each other out that's going to make the biggest difference. And anyway, okay, so that's it through the actual storm. And now if you're going through a storm of your own of sorts in life, same thing applies though. You do have that strength. You do have that inner strength to get through anything. It's just how we were created. It's in our literally in our DNA, and to keep going, keep climbing, even if things seem their most desolate. We've got the little, sickle there that kind of sometimes represents what, like the Grim Reaper coming to collect. It's just that, you can look at that tool, for example, that way, or you can flip it around, and what's your perspective? This bird, flying high isn't just looking at the sickle on the ground. If you're down in the dumps, you might just be seeing the sickle. But when you zoom out and fly up high above everything, you just see the enormous and endless bounty and infinite, creation all around. So I know I'm kind of flying all over the place, but this is just a reminder to watch your perspective. If you're feeling bad, okay, cry it out. Be in the dumps a bit, but then release it, let those wings open up, and then start to fly and zoom out and see things from a higher perspective. And I know I say this time and time again, but it is so important. It's like the only one thing out of all my over 14 years of kind of being set upon the spiritual path, so to speak, consciously, in this 3D world. I've always had it, but it's just kind of drawn into sharp focus in the last 14 years. But, the one sentence I always say is, even when things seem their worst, just say it right away when it's happening, as soon as you can remember it. No, it's happening for me, not to me. And I have done this every time, and every single time the whole situation flips around from looking really dire to really incredible, and watching what the universe, spirit, God can do to help you out and send in all manner of, wildlife or humans to come and help you. And it's just pretty extraordinary. But you just have to remember to say it, that's all. And say it in your mind or out loud. It's happening for me, not to me. And you will see the miraculous happen. Okay, I think that's it for now. So if you are in a challenging time, looks like a little bit of a maze work down here. Maybe you're in a little, a little moment of confusion or times of confusion. There's a lot, remember, sometimes it's not just your confusion. If you're on this channel, you're probably sensitive enough, in a good way. It's a positive word when I use it. Don't look at it as a weakness. It's a strength. It means you have a sensitivity and a power to connect into things that a lot of people don't and take for granted. So if you have a sensitivity toward it, it's okay. But my point is that, sometimes we feel and pick up a lot of crap, a lot of negative emotions, or things just start, you might feel like you're flying, and then all of a sudden you don't understand why you're brought down into the dumps and have like a darker, more maudlin kind of, tone there pulling you down. And you're like, why? I was feeling good. Why am I all of a sudden feeling down in the dumps? Some of that is just energies and emotions around your auric field that don't belong to you. You're picking up on somebody else's. So if that starts to happen, remember, if you're drawn down in the dumps, ask yourself the question, is all of this mine? Is all of this feeling and emotion mine? Or am I picking up on somebody else's? And then once you can kind of identify that, then just, go into prayer mode, God, please take this from me. Take whatever is mine, away. I don't need it. And, and try to break out of that and get into kind of a higher, more higher vibed and higher state of mind, right? And zoom out of that. Okay, that's all I think I'm going to say for group 2. Oh, but I do want to look at the book. I almost forgot. And I did forget to read the book for group 1, but I guess that means I just did not need to. So let me just see if there's anything. I'm going to flip through for these 3 cards and see if anything jumps out further to read or not. And if not, we'll just move on. And what I might do is just show you 3 bonus cards for a bookmark if I didn't. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? I thought I was going to read this. Let me just see. Yeah, you know what? I am feeling to do something against not against, but out of or off of the plan here, so to speak. Let's see. I'm just going to put down the bookmarks. So instead of reading from the book, I'm going to pull these cards out as bonus cards. That's what I'm going to do. Just not feeling, I was just glancing at the descriptions in the book, and I'm just not feeling them right now. So we're going to go with the feeling, the intuition on it. Okay, this is going to be interesting. So I'll pan over these cards, though. We have a crystal into the ground, a pure, looks like quartz crystal. We've got some swirling energies above, and below we've got the earthworm, and it says clarity, rumination. And we have the third eye, or the inner sight, highlighted on this being in the background. and we have what looks like a seed and kind of etherical, plant life coming out of it and roots. It says sow, planning, setting intentions, optimism. We have the butterfly here, a little group of butterflies, and it says transformation, joy, beauty, and transience. And then we have rosemary, and this says remembrance, loyalty, faithfulness. So what's interesting here is actually the incense that is now since burned out is rosemary, lavender. So I like that rosemary is coming up again. So let's pay more attention to this maybe in the message: remembrance, loyalty, faithfulness. So again, this overall reading is in remembrance, and kind of a loving faithfulness to anybody harmed, through these storms. And if you're suffering again in your own personal storm of sorts, you're not alone. We're with you. And anybody connecting in on this reading is absolutely with you too, wishing you well. What I like is that this does tie into also the actual storm. So we've got to the point where we even have sowing seeds, right? Planting, and we have the harvest. So if we keep up with it, determination, hard work, but also generosity and, spirit of community and helping each other, we will plant the seeds so that we can then harvest again. And that's absolutely going on right now. We're connecting in with the third eye. A lot of us are getting some inner sights or reminded to connect into our inner wisdoms. A lot of people are starting to get activated, so where they are having this extra sight, this extra vision, not just, thinking with the head, it's more connecting in with the heart. And that's just kind of spontaneously coming online as we are kind of moving through a new era of revelations, things being revealed. It's time for that to start happening. And as that does, we all start to transform and to, become, more enlightened and lighter beings. And so that we can tap into more of our God-given gifts to help humanity and help each other even more. And it's a good reminder in all of this to stay grounded, and so that we can have extra clarity. And it says, rumination, and kind of reflect on where we've been, where we are, and where we might be going. And that every step of the way, there's always going to be new growth and new life springing out of even some of the, most kind of adverse seeming conditions. Okay, and that's in your personal life too, as far as transformation and en route to enlightenment and planting seeds. And then we grow, and even in the darkest moments, if you feel like in your abyss mode, if you're going through a dark night of the soul, just remember that even a seed is buried, and not seeing any light for quite some time, but it doesn't mean it's dead. It means it's growing. So you're not, just in an eternal waiting space, you're growing, so that patience, I always kind of hate the P word, but if you're, feel totally stuck and that there's no movement, there's still growth going on. Just like you can't see the cells reproducing within your body when you're moving, from a child to an adult. They can't help but grow. You're growing all the time, whether you consciously want to or not, right? So if you're in that kind of stuck place, just know you cannot stay there forever. It's like impossible with the laws of nature. It's always, ever seeking the sun and the light and growth. Okay, that's it for now. We're going to move on to group 3. And actually, I'm going to reveal your little heart in Spirit of Revelations and Enlightenment. There's your little heart that I drew to be the base and the foundation of all these groups today. Okay, now we're going to get to group number 3. And I'm going to also, group 3, lay these out for you over here. I'll just focus up here for the time being, because it's not so exciting to watch me try to fumble around and put these cards down. So hold on. You got quite a few cards, because I pulled some and then I was tempted to just keep going to get, hold on, I got to move these out of the way. I kept going to get more and more clarification. Hold on, guys, sorry, give me a moment. Try to make more room. We have a long row of cards. Let me focus back up here for a minute. So with each card, it was like, okay, some jumped out, and then I'm like, oh no, I need more clarification with this deck, so please keep jumping out. So we shuffled more, and they kept coming. So once again, as I started with all the other groups, I'm going to zoom out here. As I started out with the other groups too, keep in mind when I was shuffling and having the cards jump, it was keeping in mind the focus of we love, and like in my mind, it was like North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, but really we love humanity, wherever you are in the world, going through any kind of real storms or figurative, metaphorical storms, this all applies. And again, I think anybody coming together on this reading, we are loving beings sending out good and loving intent for whoever needs it right now. Extra support, love, family, hugs, whatever you need right now are yours, just by connecting in on this reading as well and this blessing. Okay, so I'm going to just run through what says the subtitles on the cards right now, and the numbers in case you're interested in the numerology of it. And I do have the blog site listed in my description area below, the Australian blog site, which is great for just typing in these numbers or any other number you're interested in right now. It will give you the positive aspects of them and some really nice meanings. Okay, so let's just get to this. Actually, I'm going to hold the camera out and just read all of them at a glance first, and then we'll go in on each card, and then we'll get into the heart of the reading. So the first card on the left, it starts off with Middle World, then the Rattle, the Sacrifice, the Mystical Shaman, and Flow. The numbers, and I'll go slowly on each card. We've got 36, which is also a 9. And this is the Middle World card. Then we have number 43, or 7. The Rattle. Then we have number 44, or number 8. The Sacrifice. And then we have number 38, that's an 11 or 2. The Mystical Shaman or Shaman. And then we have number 20 or 2. Flow. So before I get to the book on this, I just kind of want to read it all together. And again, this is more in my heart and mind of covering this from the standpoint of what happens and what the people actually are experiencing in the aftermath of a physical storm. Okay, so Middle World. For me on this card, it's a matter of talking about, the center of your world. There's that phrase, and it never rubs me the right way because I think the intent of it has been distorted a bit, but you'll hear people toss it around. I've probably done it too, where you say as above so below. Well, first off, I want to question what is above and what's below relative to where you are. So if you're talking about you're standing on the surface of the earth, as above so below means one very different thing, right? Because that would mean what's above you, what's above in the sky and space and the galaxies. And if you're saying below, then what does that mean? Because you're standing on earth. So that means that there is an inner earth or something to the center of the earth. That's how I interpret it. So if you're up in the galaxy, what's above and below? Well, earth would be at your feet, and even more galaxy, presumably ever expanding, would be above you. Now, what if you were in inner earth? Then what's above and what's below? Above is surface earth. Well, what's below that? Then you might be talking into either more galaxy or some kind of different dimensions, a lower or higher dimensions, right? Depending on how you're looking at things. So for me, in this particular reading relative to storms, this is Middle World. It's got this beautiful tree of life with a bubble, a sphere around it. So for me, this is wherever you are. And it's actually even your heart space itself. And everything else around you is what you see maybe with your physical eyes. But the interior is even protected by this bubble. So it's kind of like God is wherever you are. And that's the kind of energy I'm getting off of this middle world. So you're in the middle of, everything else happening around you. So that's what I'm getting. So for right now, wherever you are is where you're being affected. So if you're standing like this tree, you might be standing in the hardest hit areas of the storm, and your world is feeling shaken like this rattle. It's kind of like a cosmic rattle. Something kind of has shaken up and disturbed your world. In this case, it's flooding, it's wind damage or whatever. Not necessarily, earthquakes, but that's another possibility when they talk about the rattle and the earth shaking. So right now your world has been maybe disturbed, and again, this is for the actual storms now, but also could be, in your world, a figurative or metaphorical storm. Maybe your whole world feels shaken, kind of undone a bit too. Even through it all, though, there is this invisible plane that we cannot see, and most of us cannot see, some can. And you've got your spirit team, whether that's ancestors or God, Jesus, your higher self, loved ones that have recently transitioned, all of it, your guardian angels, your guardian angelics. There's so much stuff that we cannot see that is there that can help us. So we've got this kind of little aura. We'll look at this bubble as kind of a protective aura, but love can come in and out, and often does, to help us out, even if we've gone through the most, incredible shakings that our world is even completely turned upside down. Then we have the sacrifice. It's important to point out on this card that sacrifice doesn't mean like you slay something or kill it and are like bloodlusty. No. Sacrifice, another meaning of it is to make sacred. And how do you make things sacred? How are you honoring not only yourself, but the earth, the world, and other humanity around you, right? So even though your world is undone in case of this physical storms, the weather that just happened, your world may seem undone, totally shaken, but remember there are others who are taking their humanity, their human beingness sacred, and making a sacred act of honoring and reaching out to help others through it all. No one is an island here. There are other forces that can come and go, and, loving forces that can lend a helping hand and help each other out. We also have the mystical shaman, through this, most of these catastrophes and disasters, the best of humanity, I'm going to always contend, comes out where we do help each other and come together and pray for each other and wish each other well if we can't physically go and do anything. That's what we're doing now. We're sending out blessings from the heart space and goodwill toward the rest of humanity through this and connecting in. And so the mystical shaman now is us getting in touch with our God-given spirit, that God spark, and through the reaching out and helping others, we reach a new understanding in this world, that you can't even put, a description to. It's just a feeling, tapping into that feeling that's otherworldly of when we do reach out and help each other. And we can be that mystical shaman and do things to bring about the blessings. Like earlier I had lavender and myrrh and frankincense in here, and burning it with the rosemary and lavender, using all kinds of, not only just praying, but doing an action. Some of you might say, well, I don't really want to start a YouTube channel and do anything like you're doing and send a prayer out that way, or I just want to stay home and pray. That's great. Put your hands on your heart and just even lend a second to the prayer and upliftment of all of humanity right now. We could all use it for all kinds of reasons, especially for the storms in the region. There's also something else you can do to take an action if you feel like, well, I can't really donate anything monetary, and I don't know if it's going to get to the actual community anyway, and I don't really feel like doing this and this. Hey, just sit and hum as you're preparing your food, or sing in the shower, and just, close your eyes and just, again, even for a split second, say, oh, bless those people that are being affected. Or if you're being affected with a storm in your life, a figurative one, bless yourself. There's a lot of power in that too. And if you're somebody that wants to wish well for those that are, getting harmed by the storms, the actual storms, get some, and feel like you got to do something, and it's just prayer isn't your thing, or whatever you don't think it is, and you can't do anything else, and you feel like your hands are tied, grab some sidewalk chalk, go out wherever you live, and like draw a happy sunshine and rainbow on the sidewalk, and anything that somebody walking along might look down and be unexpectedly surprised and go, oh, and you bring a smile to their face. That's called upliftment. That's once you lift up one, you lift up us all, on a certain level. You create a beautiful ripple, through the whole universe with that one smile, or making somebody smile, or just put a little note on your mailbox, and when that mail carrier comes, just say, wishing you a beautiful day with a sunshine, on it. And, something so it doesn't hint that you're romantically interested in the person at all, but just a generic wishing another human being well type of spirit with it, right? Just have a great day, and tack it on your post box. And I guarantee you will create a happy heart in that person, and maybe they've had a tough day or going through storms of their own. So now's the time to get out there and create ripples of kindness. Do it. I just did it the other day. I've covered in other shows, these little sparkle bags with little squeaky ducks inside, these little mini ducks. And they're all different colored bags, all different colored ducks, and I just hand them out randomly. And I can tell you, I have seen literally at this point thousands of people. I think I've given over 700 of those out in the communities wherever I am. I also have given things like just paint, a heart on paper and hand it to somebody that says thank you on it. And you would not believe how just any of these simplest of tokens really uplift people who need it. Now, there are going to be some islands and regions where people are generally relaxed and happy. It doesn't land so much there. They don't need it as much because they're already in a nice high vibe state. But I can tell you, everywhere I've been around in the United States and have had these things and given them out, it certainly makes people stop and smile, and they just can't believe it. Some people have had such a rough life, they break down crying receiving just the simplest of things. So remember, you don't know, what other people are going through. Unless you're walking their walk, you just don't know. And if you've ever walked and had hardship in your own life, just remember, we all tend to be on this earth not to escape some really hard times. So just remember to look through the eyes of compassion and love on the daily. And just remember, there's so much more to this world going on. And this whole world right now needs love and us helping each other, right? So the Mystical Shaman is watching some beautiful miracles and things happening when we just remember to connect into that heart space, make things sacred in our thoughts, minds, and actions, okay? And that really will help everybody. Okay, then we get to flow, and that just kind of is a nice little punctuation on the end of this sentence. So, if we can move through these energies of helping those out whose world may be completely shaken, connect into our God-given powers, just even to make somebody smile or help them out, then we are living in the flow that is intended for this life. And, things go smoothly for us all when even just one of us has the intent to help one other, right? Okay, I think that's all I'm going to say for now. And then I'm going to go to the book and see if there's any. I'm going to look down at the book. This is actually the companion book. I've shown it before. It has some really beautiful and powerful messages in here. So I'm just going to kind of skim over, though, and see if there are any I want to read. And if I don't, then what I'm going to do is lay out the bookmark cards that I threw in there and just read them as face value. Let me just see if there's anything that's jumping out to read. That I haven't already kind of touched on. Hold on. I'm going to read the one I am going to read is the what's it called? Yeah, the Mystical Shaman or Shaman, because that is the title of the whole book, and I've never actually read it before. So as I've shown before, the layout of this book is really nice. Oops, sorry about that. I dropped the camera. Sorry about that. Here we go. The layout is nice. It says the essence, the invitation, and on the next page it's going to say the medicine, which is kind of the remedy. So I'm just going to hover the camera here and read this off camera. Let me reposition my hand so I don't accidentally turn the camera off, and I can hold it steady enough, hopefully. So I'll try to keep it zoomed out on the cards. But here we go. The Mystical Shaman or Shaman. The essence. This is the symbol of the myth maker and storyteller who is neither made Let me start over. This is the symbol of the myth maker and storyteller who is neither made of nor defined by the story. Instead, he observes it, evolves through it, perceives all aspects of it. In so doing, the Mystical Shaman represents the ability to dream a new story, a new myth into being. He dances between worlds, wearing the cloak of the world loosely around his shoulders, and sings the world into being. Oh, I'm going to come in on the card itself. Okay. He reminds us to be in the world and travel through it, but not to be defined by it or become too attached to the experience. This is the symbol of true alchemy, for all elements of life have a spiritual aspect and a material one. When we remember this, all manner of miracles and manifestations are possible. The invitation. When the Mystical Shaman appears, you're invited to consider the ability to live without attachment. You are called to create and dream your life, to act on inspiration and divine impulse without fixating on a known story of success or achievement. Can you impartially observe the stories you tell yourself and others? What if you could become a mystery to yourself? Who would you become if you stopped telling the tales that have defined you up until now? You do not have to live a story that has roots in the past. What if there were no need to explain you to anyone, not even to yourself? The way to your most extraordinary life is to become a blank slate and allow the form of your dreams and desires to show up as it will. This is a sign of manifesting a life beyond your wildest dreams. Okay, now I'm going to read the medicine. It's usually when the card comes up in reverse or inverted position. But this time I'm going to read, I like to still read it because this book has good messages, and this might apply to you. So here we go, the medicine or the remedy. Be careful what you pray for. The Mystical Shaman cautions you against relentless attachment to a certain form that you think will make you happy, prosperous, famous, loved, etc. However, in seeing your dream come into being, had you considered what you are willing to sacrifice for it? Perhaps you have been telling yourself a certain story for so long. The story that only when you reach this particular goal will you be happy, that you will arrive. You didn't even notice you're no longer the person who wanted those outcomes. You may have moved beyond those stories. Perhaps it's time to admit to yourself that you need to imagine a new story that is more in alignment with who you have become. This is just one moment in millions of moments in the continuum of a life. Let it go. Let it be just a story and move on. Better tales are waiting to be told. All right, that's powerful. I'm going to leave it on that. Better stories. We do get attached. We kind of hang on to stuff. And this is a call to be more loose, more fluid, go with the flow with your story of life. Don't let things define you. Don't label yourself, for goodness sakes. Don't put a label on your own self. There's plenty out there in the 3D world trying to do that to you. All right, so let me pull up, give me a second again. I'll focus on the candle. I'm going to pull out, let me get rid of your other cards, and I'm just going to put the extra bookmark cards as a little bonus. I'm just probably going to go face value on these. I don't know. Actually, I take that back. I'm probably going to read one more passage because I'm just seeing one of the cards, and I remember I was curious about it because I didn't know much about it, and I might read that. So give me one more second. Bear with me kindly. And the sun is going down. I've been relying on natural light, so let's do this before it gets too dark as well. Okay. I think that's good. Oh, you know what? I think I lost my page. Give me one more second so I can find... Oh, good, it's alphabetical. I want to find the one thing I wanted to read at the end. This is maybe a little extra message of patience. Bear with me. Here we go. Okay, let's get to it. So your extra cards for group 3 are the Sweat Lodge. That's the one I'm going to read. That's a 54 or number 9. 26 or number 8 is the Hummingbird. 63 or number 9, Wind. 59 or 14 or 5 is Upper World. Let's see what we got. 53 or 8, the Sun. And we have 32 or 5, Luminous Warrior. And 64 or 10, and this one is the Witness. Okay, so lots of positive cards in here, like the Hummingbird, Winds of Change, I would look at it. Luminous Warrior, you got the endless supply of a light within that can never be extinguished, to keep going, to witness the dawn of a new day and, beautiful things and rebuilding if there's a storm in your life. The Sun, as they always say, the happiest card in the deck, so no matter what's going on through it all, the outcome is the sun. Things will... the sun will rise again. Group 2 had the harvest and sowing seeds, and, even if things get kind of plowed over, there will be another time to plant seeds and rebuild and grow again. I want to go and just read, and we'll finish on the Sweat Lodge, and this may or may not tie into the reading. But let's look at number 9. And number 9 is actually a number of completion, so it's very apropos. And I'm just going to read out of the book again. We have the essence, the invitation, and the medicine. Here we go. I'm going to try to hover over the card. Forgive me if it slips. I'm just kind of looking over here to the right as I'm holding the camera over here to the left. All right. So the Sweat Lodge represents the womb of Mother Earth. Volcanic stones are heated in a fire outside, then brought into the lodge and placed in a shallow hole in the center. Participants sit in complete darkness around the red-hot stones to sweat away old habits and beliefs and heal disease. When you return humbly to the womb of the mother, you are offered second chances. Okay, sorry about that camera work. This is a time to journey inward into the dark and hidden places of your soul to reconnect with the ancient earth wisdom. You can also create a sacred and intimate space in the dark by lighting a candle. Observe what emerges and without judging it, invite it to bring you its gifts. You are being offered an opportunity to shed and heal from the aspects of your life you have outgrown. Do not worry that you will be consumed by the process. The medicine or remedy. Life is offering you a second chance. Take it, since this chance may not come your way again for a while. Mother Earth is calling you into her womb and inviting you to incubate as long as needed for spiritual rebirth. Gift yourself time to be with your darkness, your fears, your pain, and your seeds of beautiful potential until you come out the other side free, wise, and full of creativity. So yes, this is speaking to you, especially if you're going through a dark night of the soul. And that is a very dark place indeed. But as you look, there's darkness all around. Eventually you do come through to get to that light, because that is our nature. I think I mentioned in group 2, when you're a seed and you're buried in that darkness, you're not stand still. You're not. You're growing, patiently growing until you bust through that darkness and reach the light. Okay, so this is a message of hope if you're, in this kind of position. And actually, this, if you're going through a dark night of the soul. And actually, if you notice, the shadow behind this person is looking like a tree. To me, it's like foliage and a trunk and like roots growing. So anyway, if you're going through your own personal storm, this is a message to, okay, you're going to move through it, but you're going to move through it. Even if you have to stop for a minute, keep walking eventually until you get out of it, and there's nobody's judging you on the time limit. Some people might get through that space in a matter of a few days, some months, some years, some decades. Do not judge yourself and just allow the process to flow. Okay, and again, I love that message about the candle. You can even just light a candle wherever you are if you need that. Especially in a dark night of the soul, it's actually a nice physical thing to do, to light a candle, because something about that flickering flame reminds you that there's life in this world. There's life in the oxygen itself. There's life in that fire. And, you kind of feel like you're not alone. You have a little living companion there. And just be sure to blow it out when you're done. All right, everyone. I think that's it for now. Oh, you know what? I'm looking at the time on this thing. Just for fun, let's lighten this up a bit. I've had a very intensive, prayer kind of blessing focus on this thing. I'm going to do this just in case you need something like a little more, maybe, I don't want to say lighthearted, but maybe there's just some other little word or thing you want to focus on, and we'll kind of break out of this kind of storm, personal storm, physical physical, I can't talk, physical storm kind of thing. Let's zoom out. I'm going to kind of tap the singing bowl one more time, just one little tone. And that's just to kind of clear out the energies. And let's shift focus now to something more generic, just any generic messages. So remember which group you were, 1, 2, or 3. And I'm just going to randomly pull out cards now, connected in though. What do you need to hear for your best and highest good, just in general? And as I'm about to do this, it's so timely. I hear somewhere in the neighborhood somebody's amped up their kind of party, festive music. And yeah, it's time to shift and get lighthearted. Even the back of these decks is a little more lighthearted. Okay, so I'm just going to, I'll just pull them all 3 out at one time. And if it's inverted, I'm going to put it right. Okay, so look at this. This is interesting. So, okay, group 1. You have a card of success. And, I literally just said it. I think it's about lightening up. Let's lighten things up and celebrate, like these hot air balloons. If you've got any frustrations or you're holding any resentment in, exhale it out. Exhale all that heat. Exhale the hot air. Let it all out somewhere, wherever you need to, so that, not at ideally not at somebody else, but maybe go blow off some steam. Go blow off some hot air so you can get to this lightness again, and not be stuck in the mud, mired in the ground. Let go of anything that's kind of got you troubled. If you're having a problem with a person, conflicts, and you're harboring any resentment or just anger, I highly suggest you get to forgiveness as quickly as you can. And one great way, I've mentioned it before, that somebody helped me with this by suggesting this, is you don't have to forgive the actual actions or deeds that were, not good, but you can forgive the person and zoom out, zoom out high above and look things as the omniscient observer of the whole thing, and look at all of us just as children of God type of thing, all of us doing the best we can with what we have to work with on this planet, and just kind of forgive them from that point of view. Like, you are a child of God too, so I can forgive that. If you were a 2-year-old and you did something terrible by mistake, you didn't know what you were doing, I'm not going to harbor, ill will toward you. I'll forgive you. You didn't know, right? That type of thing. And even if somebody willfully did something against you, again, they're in their ignorance. They're not coming from their God space. So you can zoom out and say, okay, this child of God is not operating from the connected to the God source state. I can forgive that. That's what God would do with all of us. I don't have to forgive the actions they did, though. Okay, so that might help you get into that state quicker. Because if you harbor any unforgiveness, what's that going to do? That's just a toxin that's going to hurt yourself and manifest as illness in your body. So get rid of it. Lighten up. Go look at the stars. Stand out and wonder at the stars if they're visible. There's a lot of chemicals spraying the skies these days, so you might not be able to see them. And if not, just do something that reminds you of lightness, laugh a little, do something that gets you into that state of being. Okay, but whatever is going on in your life, it looks like, there is success, either not even on the horizon, because it's like actively in success mode. So try to stay high vibed so that success is, visibly in your sphere sooner than later. Okay. All right. And we're getting to the next card. Good luck. I mean, luck. So to group 1, good luck with that. With you in spirit, wishing you well. Okay. Group 2 is luck, and you got a four-leaf clover and a dragonfly. So it looks like whatever you are, wondering about, and in general, you've kind of got like a lucky star over you, I would say. And just really, to bring in even more luck, just really connect in with nature and be in wonder. Have that childlike wonder wherever you go. But whatever you're looking at, or had your mind on, or your heart on, it looks like you've got luck coming your way. And actually, it's not even coming your way; it's here, because the dragonfly is kind of hovering here. It's not dashing about. It's taking a moment to pause and emphasize that yes, you already are luck, and you have luck right there with you. So extra happiness to you. That's incredible. All right, we're going to move on. Group 3, intuition. And again, I've looked at this card before. It kind of implies like a blue moon, or moon in the background with the craters, or it could be like a water droplet. It's open to interpretation. Intuition usually does imply getting more in connection to the emotion side of things, which can be depicted as water. It also could be maybe a sky in the background, I don't know, a glimpse of sky. But whatever the case, this looks like a very, intuition connected in with wisdom, and that you have that protection. You kind of have that, well, all three. I feel like it's kind of like you have a lucky star, in this case, maybe like a lucky orb over you, protecting you, as the deer has the protection of the antlers on the outside, but you also have that protection on the inside if you follow your intuition. Like it's been said, and I've referenced this before, paraphrased it, I think even one of the previous readings, recent readings, that the Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, like 1920, 1921. She was a metaphysical teacher, amongst other things, which she did with art and other things. But she told her students something like, prayer is you communicating, with God, like your telephone, you're calling God through prayer. And intuition and signs are God's answer back to you. So listen to your intuition. That's how God can communicate with us, or your higher self, or whatever you want to look to. That's of good and loving intent. That's kind of outside of our realm here to assist us. So anyway, looks like, yeah, just a little friendly reminder to not see the world with your physical eyes so much as going inside and using your intuition on everything, and starting to really trust it. Maybe practice things to reinforce your intuition if you need to. Maybe you've never thought of it before, but even just if you leave your house. I mean, I'm basing this on eyes, from the Western world and examples. So I know things are different around the world, but if you're in the United States, say, you're leaving your house, and we're just so programmed by matrix, if you want to call it, around us, just to do this, do that, without even questioning, without even looking at our intuition. Well, instead of maybe hopping into your car and going the same old way that you would go wherever you're going, whether to go to a grocery store or go to a work or whatever, why do you always just automatically assume you're going to go to the left, say? Maybe that's the quickest way to get to where you're going. Instead, you get in the car, sit there, and say, am I really supposed to go here or there, wherever you're off to? And then you'll get kind of, when you get really good in practice at this, you'll hear a little silent, kind of almost imperceptible, yeah, okay, you're supposed to go there. Or, if you're feeling like, wait a minute, something's saying I shouldn't go, although regular material world says to go, then kind of ask, so where am I supposed to go? And you might start to see a vision of going somewhere totally different. Follow it. And if it is like, yes, you are supposed to go where you intended, then just say, am I supposed to go left or right? And close your eyes, tap in, and then you'll get a little vision of which way you should go. Like if one way is predominantly like industrial and no trees, the other way is trees, you'll see it very clearly. Yeah, for whatever reason, I'm supposed to go the industrial way, even if you felt like you wanted to go the tree way, or vice versa. You'll be like, I think I'll go the industrial way, it's shorter, but you might really be seeing those trees in your mind's eye. Then follow the trees way, right? It's that simple. But don't take anything for granted, even with the most basic daily things. Key into your intuition and be amazed what will happen in that process if you're not doing it already. Okay, everyone. Well, that's it for now. Oops, excuse me, my voice lost for a second. That's it for now. So I do wish you, it is the weekend where I'm at, or starting to be. I wish everyone a beautiful right now and an extraordinary, happy, festive, lighthearted weekend ahead. And even if you're in the hardest hit areas from the storm and trying to recover or even just survive, I wish you some, wondrous miracles coming your way that you can appreciate. That it finds you a very happy surprise. And again, best wishes to all. Tremendous peace and love to you, Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.